What's up, EV Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Gold Randomizer Nuzlocke. In the last episode, we came up to the Lake of Rage, and we just did some scouting around the perimeter to see what we could find, and we did end up finding an HM, I was going to say an HM, a TM for Hyper Beam, as well as some other stuff that I don't remember. But the Hyper Beam was the main thing, and we actually got, we taught the Hyper Beam TM to our friend Juan over here. Wait for it, pause for effect, Thundershock. We taught Hyper Beam over Thundershock, because Thundershock has been useless on this Pokemon ever since I put it on, honestly. Well, ever since it evolved. Because it used to be Mareep, and Mareep used to get great use out of Thundershock because it was Stab. But then it was Stab, and Mareep is a special attacker. I think, maybe it's mixed attacker at that point, and it becomes a special attacker as Ampharos. I don't know, or Flaffy. I don't know. But Mareep, obviously its special attack is fine, if not good, and it was Stab. So Thundershock was great on Mareep, and then Juan evolved. And, hold on. Navigating the summary when I freaking don't know this game is rough. Status okay, type ground, flying, XP points, level up. Where are the stats? Yeah. You see that attack? Pretty awful, right? Given the level. You see that special attack? See how much more awful that is? So yeah, Thundershock, great on Mareep, not so great on Gligar. So we finally replaced it with something that's a little bit better, hopefully, Hyper Beam. Hopefully that puts in a lot more work than Thundershock did. But yeah, we, in this episode, are going to be finally, I put it off for the entirety of the last episode because I was too busy like going around the Lake of Rage. To go into it. But now, today, we are going into it, and we are going to be catching the shiny Pokemon in the middle that looks like a red Gyarados, but it's in fact a different shiny, because, obviously, Randomizer. You saw it in the title, probably, when you clicked on this, so, you should know what you clicked on. You should, I don't know what I'm saying. Point is, it's in the title, you should know, it's a Randomizer, so, it's not going to be a shiny Gyarados, it's going to be a shiny something else. So I'm trying to think like what I should put in front, but in actuality it doesn't particularly matter, does it? Because it's randomized. How should I know? I did actually go into the Lake of Rage a little bit just to like scout around the perimeter when there was a wall in the way. So I did actually get my encounter in here, but I did not get the static encounter of the shiny. Yasha! That is not a Gyarados call. I recognize that call though. I think it's a Pikachu? It's not a Pikachu. Why did I think that was a Pikachu? Doesn't Pikachu just say Pikachu? I'm stupid. I want to say I wasn't too off, but, you know, I think, all biases aside, Weepinbell is pretty different from Pikachu. So this is what shiny Weepinbell looks like. I wasn't aware. I did not know what shiny Weepinbell looks like. It looks pretty good, actually. Maybe it's more washed out in future games. Obviously, everything is more washed out in future games, but maybe it's like looks really bad because it's more washed out in future games. Maybe the sprite looks really good, and then the 3D model of the shiny looks terrible. I don't recall Weepinbell having a very good shiny, but I love the purple on the lips. My gosh. Obviously, it is like just yellow, which is very close to the green color it normally had. Well, actually, it's normally yellow, but like now it's entirely yellow, including the leaves. I guess it's a yellowish green. It's like a lime color, I guess. I feel like it's leaning more towards... I mean, it is green, but it's like a very yellow-green, I feel, is what this Weepinbell is. We are currently being put to sleep. That is not fantastic, but, I feel like we probably have a item that we can use to get rid of that in here somewhere. Do we? We do. Mint Berry. It would be nice if it just said Sleep Berry. I know that Poison Berry is just Poison Heal Berry, then Paralyze is just Paralyze Heal Berry, so I don't know why the Sleep one is a Mint Berry. That doesn't make much sense. It should be Sleep Heal Berry, or Awakening Berry, not freaking Mint Berry, but I guess Awakening is already taken. It's just the name of the item. I guess like Poison Heal. The reason why it's a Poison Heal Berry is because it's you know, the item is not called a Poison Heal, it's called an Antidote. But then again, like, the Paralyze Heal Berry is a thing, and yet Paralyze Heal is just an item. So if they were concerned about it being the berry being called the same thing as the item, then they wouldn't have called it a Paralyze Heal Berry, because it's the Paralyze Heal is the item that heals paralysis. So like I thought for a second, I was like, well, they called it a Poison Heal Berry because they called it a Poison Heal Berry and they didn't call it, they called it a Poison Heal Berry because the item is not called a Poison Heal, it's called an Antidote. They didn't want the berry to have the same name as same name starting it. They didn't want it to just be like the name of the item and then berry. They wanted it to be Poison Heal Berry because the item was not called Poison Heal, it was called Antidote. Obviously they wouldn't call it Antidote Berry. That would be kind of stupid. Well, I guess it wouldn't be stupid, but it would just, I had a feeling they didn't want to do it, right? So that's why it's called a Poison Cure Berry. But the Mint Berry is not called a Awakening Berry, even though that would make sense. It's because they didn't want it to have the same name as the item. Poison Cure is not the name of the item that cures poison, but Awakening is the name of the item that cures sleep. So they called it a Poison Cure Berry, the one that cures poison, but they didn't call it an Awakening Berry because it's called the item that kills sleep is called an Awakening, and they didn't call it a Sleep Heal Berry because that's just stupid, right? Because you don't heal sleep. Sleep is just something that people do. It's just a process. It's just a thing that happens in life. It's not like a thing that you need to heal or anything. It's healing sleep doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But to Sleep Heal Berry, obviously they didn't call it Sleep Heal Berry. But I was wondering why they didn't call it Awakening Berry, and then I was like, oh, okay, because that's the name of the item, right? They didn't call it. They called it a Poison Heal Berry because it's not a poison. The thing that heals poison is not a poison heal, but an antidote. But then again, now that I think about it, Paralyze Heal is the name of the item, and it's called a Paralyze Heal Berry, the berry that heals paralysis. So it's not even operating on that logic. It is just they called it a Mint Berry when they should have called it an Awakening Berry. Like, there's no way I can sugarcoat this or say like, oh yeah, I understand the rationale behind this decision because I thought I did, and then I thought about it some more. And I'm like, wait, but Paralyze Heal Berry is called the same thing as is just Paralyze Heal with berry in front of it. Paralyze Heal is what heals paralysis. So it's not like they were trying to avoid putting the name of the item that, or the medicine item that heals it in the berry name, because that's what they did with the Paralyze one, the paralysis one. So now I just straight up don't understand why it's called a Mint Berry and not an Awakening Berry. But anyway, I mean, I guess Mint would wake you up, but why not an Awakening Berry? That's just more on the nose. That just makes more sense. That's just less confusing. Anyway, Weepinbell. Even though it is filled with acid, it does not melt because it also oozes a neutralizing fluid. I was very confused. A neutralizing fluid. It's not a neutralizing fluid. Because it also oozes a neutralizing fluid. Okay. Look at that. See, when you put them back to back, like, that looks very different than the normal sprite. Because obviously we're just looking at, like, what's in the Pokedex. And the Pokedex is the normal sprite. But that is not the normal sprite. Then you look at that, you follow up the normal sprite with that shiny sprite, and then you're like, oh wow, that is decidedly not the normal sprite. I couldn't really tell the difference much before. I was just like, oh, the lip is purple, that's cool. But now that I look at the difference in colors, in like the color of the plant itself, I'm like, oh wow, that is a much more yellow-green than what is normally on it. It is not just the lips that change, it's very much the entire color of the thing. Meanwhile, in future games, I do not think that is the case. It goes from yellow to like a slightly different yellow, and the leaves turn yellow. I feel like Weepinbell in future games is just kind of like, shiny Weepinbell in future games is just kind of like leaves turn yellow, and that's the main thing. I mean, I guess now that I think about it, now that I'm like picturing it in my head, yes, its lips also do turn purple, but it's not that, like, vibrant purple. Once again, as I said before, it is very, like, faded. It is very, I don't remember the word I used before, but it is faded. It's a much more faded purple than that vibrant purple they have on the lips in this game. And that sprite is, that shiny sprite for Weepinbell is much better than the 3D model for shiny. That sprite for shiny Weepinbell is much better than the 3D model for shiny Weepinbell. The shiny looks way better on that sprite. Anyway. Let's see what we're gonna name it. Him, sorry. Stop calling living things with sentience it. Quincy, we're gonna go with Quincy. I don't know why, but, you know, it's just, I don't really know why with any of these. I don't know why I said I don't know why, as if that's like, something that's different from usual. It's not. I never know why, I just named them a random name. Alex obtained a red scale. I don't know what that does, because I don't think that's in future games. Well, I guess it's, okay, it's a key item, so it's probably not. Because most key items don't get repeated in normal game, in like, Pokemon games. Between games, unless it's, like, something that's very simple, like a super rod, or a good rod, or an old rod, or whatever other kind of rod you can think of. Those are the 3 rods, though, so I guess you wouldn't think of another rod. But, anyway, Lance, what you gotta say? This lake is full of Gyarados, but nothing else. So the Magikarp are being forced to evolve. Did you come here because of the rumors? You're Alex. You're Alex? I'm Lance, a trainer like you. But you're in the Pokemon League, and I'm not. So, not all that much like me. When you think about it. I heard some rumors, so I came to investigate. Could have given me a little bit more information there. I'm a trainer like you. You didn't fail to mention that he's the greatest trainer in the region. So I'm a trainer. Okay. Not all that much like me. I saw the way you battled earlier, Alex. I can tell that you're a trainer. Yes, with considerable skill. Thank you. If you don't mind, could you help me investigate? Sure. Excellent. It seems that the lake's Magikarp are being forced to evolve. A mysterious radio broadcast coming from Mahogany is the cause. How do you know this? I'll be waiting for you, Alex. Whoa! He just spun into the air. Crazy what the champion is capable of, my gosh. It's just like, what just happened? It looked like the escape rope animation, but like, just out in the open. It's not like he like escape roped up out of the cave. It's like he threw an escape rope into the sky and just went flying upward in a spinning motion. It's like, what the heck was that? If he just like used fly and it showed like the fly animation and like flying away on a Pokemon, I would be like, oh, okay. But like, what did he just do? He just spun upwards into the air. That crap didn't make any sense. But yeah, now we're just gonna go over back to Mahogany Town. He's gonna Hyper Beam a guy, like I said he would in the previous episode. I was thinking of the wrong house. I had actually been to the house where he was gonna do that, but Dragonite! Hyper Beam! That guy's freaking dead! What took you, Alex? Just as I thought, that strange radio signal is coming from here. But how did you know it was a radio signal in the first place? You didn't answer me! You just went flying up in the air in a spinning motion! Stairs are right here. How did you know that? Alex, we should split up to check this place. I'll go first. Yes, sir, Mr. Champion. I will let you go first. Don't worry, you don't have to twist my arm. You found the secret stairway and frickin' killed my partner. Oh no, wait, he's moving. I think he's alive, guys. Somehow. That guy's dragon Pokemon are tough. Clearly not tough enough to frickin' kill you, man. Like, you should be lucky they weren't a little bit tougher. You should feel lucky. Okay, so. Yeah, I thought in the previous episode I was like going up to a house and I was like, this is the house where you Hyper Beam someone. No, actually I had already been in that house and I just hadn't acknowledged it. But then at the end of the episode I was thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I had not only already been in that house, but I also knew that it was that house and then didn't acknowledge it, I don't think. I don't think I said it out loud, but I was thinking that when I walked to the house. I was like, this is the house where Lance freaking Hyper Beamed someone. Because I walked in and I was like talking to the guy and saying, like, oh, he sells garbage, right? And I, like, was in that house before. And I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, this is the house where he hyper beams some guy, but I didn't say it out loud, and then I only said it out loud. Like, this, I think this is the house where he hyper beams some guy, when I was talking about the wrong house. But for the record, I knew which house it was, and then I forgot which house it was. And then later on, and then after I finished recording, or like, towards the end of the recording, I realized, like, which house it actually was, and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing that next episode. I remember which house it was now. It was the house with the stupid guy selling the stupid stuff with the slowpoke tail and the antidote and the Pokeball and the other thing that was useless. Hey, intruder alert! Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Wee woo wee woo! You are banned from the daycare! Get out! Something like that. Right, Stacy? So that's Star U. Are there, like, random encounters here that I can just, like, encounter on the ground? Or is it just the statics in the like electrode room, the static electrodes? I don't know. I guess we'll find out when we do some more walking in here. Like the Team Rocket base in Gen 1, when none of the Team Rocket bases in Gen 1 had wild encounters in them, but I feel like this is considerably more wild than the Team Rocket bases in Gen 1. Like I feel like the Team Rocket bases in Gen 1 were all like in the city. Meanwhile, this one's like in nature, like it's just under a like rural house. So I feel like this one is much more likely to have wild Pokemon in it than like the ones in Gen 1. Because the ones in Gen 1 were like basements of buildings. This one is meanwhile just like a really nice looking cave, basically. Unknown N. Okay. An interesting Pokemon to send out. However, I guess I shouldn't shame it, because I'm also sending out a pretty interesting Pokemon. You don't see a lot of people using Gligar, huh? Dang, I failed. Okay, and there's another... Oh. It's my turn! There's no escape! Oh, they just fight you back to back. I was expecting I'd have to, like, go to the next statue and then trigger the trap on that in order to fight the next trainer, but apparently they just keep on coming. Ryder Wayne, here he is. I already have Bruce Wayne's number, so I know that you're not the correct Wayne. I know that you're a different Wayne. You can't fool me. Sorry. I know the difference between my Waynes, okay? You are not Batman. You are an imposter. I would even say you might be the Joker. I don't know. Maybe you're some other Batman villain. Maybe you're the frickin' Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot, for all I know. Who's coming in? Diglett? I don't really care. Yeah, Diglett. Okay, good. I can read. That's a good sign. Okay, so anyway, as I was saying in a previous episode, there was this really weird movie that I watched once. And it is, I don't know if y'all have ever watched it, it's called Lisa Frankenstein. And that crap was, like, really disturbing. And not even disturbing in, like, a scary way. Just, like, disturbing in a, like, this is weird and messed up way. Because basically what happens in that movie is that there's, like, this social outcast girl, right? Her name is Lisa. And she is, like, super, like, and, like, she goes out with these, basically, she's, like, she's, like, an outcast girl who's, like, gothic, I'd say, kind of. Like, she becomes more gothic, I feel, throughout the, like, as the movie progresses. Surveillance cams are in the Pokemon statues. They'll keep appearing until you trip a secret switch. Trip a secret switch, okay. Where's the secret switch? Well, I mean, I was able to escape that time, at least. Oh yeah, so I have to find the switch in order to prevent more from being tripped. Got it. Interesting. Hey, intruder alert! Okay, so they all just kind of say intruder alert when, yeah, at least the first one that attacks you. I don't know if they all summon two, or it's just that first one that summons two. But at least the first, but if they do, all summon two, then the first one in each says intruder alert, and then maybe the second one in each also says, like, all the second ones, the second one in each also says, like, maybe the second one in each also says, like, what the second one on that first one said, or maybe there is no second one in each, I don't know, or maybe they all have different dialogue, I don't know, but all I know is the first one, at least, says the same thing, with all of them, it appears. Unknown, at least basing it off of the two I've encountered so far. Maybe they switch it up after this, but another unknown N. Oh wait, they all, hold on. Are these all like the same trainer, just duplicated? Because there's no way both of them randomized into having an unknown N, unless they're just like the same people and it only randomizes them once. That would make sense. Okay, so basically the first guy is always the same guy. Yeah, it's always Writer Stacy. Okay, dang, I failed. So it always is the same guy who... Okay, yeah. So every time you trip one of these statues, it like, it's my turn, there's no escape. Okay, yeah. So every time you trip one of these statues, it's the same 2 people that pop up. And they have the same 2 Pokemon every single time, because they're the same trainers. Oh, sorry. First one has the same 2 Pokemon, then the second one has the same 3 Pokemon. Okay. So anyway, basically in Lisa Frankenstein, there's this, like, girl named Lisa, and she's, like, the main character, obviously. And as most movies have the main character named after, like, the movie named after the main character. Like, the character, if there's a character's name in the title, they're probably the main character. It's not always true, but in a lot of movies it is, so, yeah. Basically, her name is Lisa Frankenstein. Her name is not Lisa Frankenstein. Her name is Lisa, right? And the movie's called Lisa Frankenstein. And, basically, she's the protagonist, and she's, like, a social outcast girl. And she's, like, gothic, she's, like, goth, but, or, like, emo, or whatever you want to call it. I don't really know the difference, but, she just likes dark things, right? That's the definition of one of those. She just, like, likes dark stuff, and then one day she's, like, in a graveyard, as she likes to be, and then some, like, guy who's, like, dead, like an undead guy, comes out of the grave, and she's, like, she likes him. She's, like, a dead guy. Basically a walking corpse. She, like, likes him a lot. She's, like, in like with this guy, right? And then, basically she starts, like, dating guys in order to, and then, like, she'll lure them into his false sense of security, and then, she'll, like, take them out into the woods, so basically she's, like, under the guise of dating them, she's taking them out into the woods, and then she, has the corpse guy, who she actually loves, just kill them. Like, he just kills them, and then chops off their body parts, and then she sews them onto him. So basically, she is in love with a corpse, like an undead guy, and she's replacing his body parts with the body parts of people she lured into the forest under the guise of a date in order to kill. I believe she kills, like, her evil stepmother or something. Well, maybe it's not her evil stepmother. She kills, like, her stepmother or something. Surveillance cams are in the Pokemon statues. I don't know if she was evil. I don't remember, but, like, she kills her stepmother, and she gives him... Maybe it's her step... I don't even know. It's been a while, okay? She kills someone in her family. Will keep appearing until you trip a secret switch. Or maybe it was just the monster that killed them and she wasn't aware. Actually, I think it was just the monster that killed that person. Like, the person... There was someone in her family who I believe was, like, bullying her, and then, the monster corpse guy saw it, and then he killed her. And then, she just kind of... And then he, like, sort of put the body parts from her on himself, and then she's like, wait a minute, that's that person's body part. Did you kill her? And then he's like, yeah, but he can't talk because obviously his vocal cords are long rotted, so he's just like making yes noises while nodding, I guess, and then she's like, that's crazy, why did you do that? And she's like, secretly kind of happy about it, I guess, but she's like, oh my gosh, you killed her. But yeah, basically, from there, they just kill a bunch more people, and, if that wasn't already insane enough, just like, she falls in, some undead guy, so basically she's like longing for someone to love her, and then like, a gravestone gets struck by lightning, I think, and then like, an undead guy, like a dead guy comes back to life, and he's like just like a walking corpse, he's very rotted and stuff, they basically think like stereotypical zombie guy, and then, like, she falls in love with him, right? And that's already, like, pretty weird. And then she starts, like, luring people out, and then she, like, lures someone out on a date. She, like, under the guise of a date, she lures someone out into the woods, and then they kill him and steal one of his body parts to put on the guy. This is getting, like, really weird by this point, right? And then, like, obviously before that, the guy already killed, like, her stepmother or something. And then, so, eventually, with some more killing and, like, sus things, and some more killing and sus things, and like, not sus things, more killing and like weird, off-putting, disturbing things occurring later. We get to sort of like the end of the movie, and basically the climax of this movie about like luring guys into the woods, killing them, and then using their body parts to enhance your real boyfriend, who is a dead guy, who is like undead at this point. That's what the movie's about. And then up to this point, and then like we get to a certain point, right, where Lisa is, I think, hold on, I don't really know. I don't really remember. I'm trying to like not make up crap. I'm trying to like be as, because it's been a while since I watched it. All I remember is like certain parts of it being very, very strange, because like they were very, very strange. I remember certain parts of it because it's like, oh wow, like that really stuck out to me as like really weird. But like, I'm trying to be like as on the nose about this as possible, like be as honest about this as possible, but it's hard when I can't remember like what it is, what exactly happened. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that some guy, like the undead guy, her undead boyfriend guy, takes out an axe and just chops someone's dick off, like straight up, and then it just like is flying through the air. Like there's a slow-mo scene of his dick flying through, his severed dick flying through the air, and then they grab the dick. They sew it on, Lisa takes the dick, she sews it on the undead monster guy. And, at the beginning of the movie, for reference, she said, oh, I don't want to, she said, like, I don't want to die a virgin, at the beginning of the movie. And then, so at the end here, she sews on the guy's dick that they chopped off onto the monster, and then, she bangs him, and then kills herself in a tanning booth. Like, the whole garage with the tanning booth in it goes up in flames because she just decided to lay in it until she died. And her, like, sister, her stepsister or whatever, comes back to see the house on fire, and her body burning inside it. So, like, surveillance cams are in the Pokemon statues, yeah. You keep referring, yeah, okay. So, like, essentially the plot of this movie, real quick, is girl is a social outcast, dead guy comes back to life, she falls in love with dead guy, and then dead guy, kills her stepmother. Then they kill a bunch of other guys in order to get body parts from them. Then they chop off a guy's dick, slap it on the monster, and then she bangs him because she didn't want to die a virgin. Then she, from the guilt of killing all those people, decides to kill herself in a tanning booth, burning down the house. And when you put it like that, real quick, the entire plot summarized like that, boy is that a crazy movie. Boy is it crazy that someone just like sat down and wrote that. I would like to like talk to the scriptwriter of this movie. I would like to ask them legitimately, like, what goes through their head on a given day. Or maybe I wouldn't. Or maybe I don't want to know. But kind of part of me wants to know, because it is genuinely so weird and so disturbing. And like, I can do horror movies. It wasn't, and like, I thought it was gonna be like more horror movie-y. I didn't realize it was gonna be so like that. You know? Like, I didn't expect it to go a really sexual route. I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, girl revives, girl like revives monster or whatever, and then like, I thought it was gonna be more horror-y, when in reality it was just kind of like funny and disturbing, not because it was like funny in like kind of like a messed up way, like you're laughing because it's so absurd and you don't really know what else to do. It's like awkward laughing. It's like, what am I watching? You know, and like I didn't expect it to go that way at all. I expected it to be more horror and less, just less that. It was disturbing, not in the way I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be, like, edgy crap, not really, like, sexual crap, you know? Because I like the idea of, like, just goth girl becoming like a monster, right? Or like making a monster, or like becoming goth girl becoming like even darker and like doing something that she shouldn't, right? Like that is a cool idea for a movie, and I think that like I like goth girl main characters where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, she's just really edgy. I like that. I like that as a movie character. I'm not saying I like that kind of person in real life. I don't really know that many people like that in real life, but like I like the edgy girl type of movie characters. I like, you know, like Sally from like Nightmare Before Christmas. I like the creepy girls, you know? I like creepy girl characters. And I thought like Lisa Frankenstein. Okay, cool. It's like Frankenstein if they were a teenager. Like that sounds like the creepy girl aesthetic that I like to see in like movie characters. And it wasn't really, actually. She's just kind of, like, messed up in the head. Not really creepy. Not really, like, Raven vibes from, like, Teen Titans Go, or, like, not really, like, Raven vibes, or, like, Sally vibes, where they're, like, a nice they're, like, nice, but they're really scary. They're, like, creepy vibes, but, like, they're like, generally nice person. This is just, like, a straight-up evil person. This is just a person who, like, killed a bunch of people for her own gain, then killed herself. Burning down the house in the process. Like, she's just, like, absolutely psycho. She wasn't, like, creepy and, like, ooh, I like this from a design standpoint. I like the personality of this character. Like, no, she was just, like, a genuine psycho. It was not at all what I was expecting, and I wanted to see it with some friends when it first came out. But, boy am I glad that I didn't. Because, if I had been in a movie theater, next to some people watching this movie, like, it's just in a movie theater, and they just, like, had trusted me to pick out a movie, right? And I was like, we should go see this movie. And then we were in the room as that guy's dingling got chopped off and went flying through the air in slow motion. You know, I would have some explaining to do. I am so glad I didn't decide to see that in a movie theater with some friends, because I would definitely have some explaining to do. I am so glad that was just me sitting in my living room watching that, with no people who, like, with no one besides family around to judge me. And mind you, I did get some judgment from family, too. They were like, what the frick is this? Which is reasonably so, right? It is not what I expected. It was very much not what I expected. And it was that kind of thing where, like, I watched it up until that point. I watched it up until a certain point, and I was, like, committed to finishing it. But boy, was I getting the stares on the frickin', like, chop off the guy's ding-a-ling scene. Boy, was I getting the stares on that one. Anyway. In less weird movie news, Geraldine, come in and deal with this Matt Cargo, please. Matt Cargo is quite pink in this game. If you had, like, showed me this without showing me the beginning of the battle, like the animation of them coming out, I would have been like, is that shiny? But obviously I saw that there was no, like, stars coming out of it, so clearly it wasn't a shiny, but, Super Fang could do some work here. I feel like, I mean, Water Gun might just kill in one hit, but, like, Super Fang I might as well go for the Super Fang to ensure that the Water Gun kills. I could just go for 2 Water Guns, it might just kill that way, but, like, might as well use Super Fang. There's no real, reason not to. It's just like, if I use it, then if I use it and I didn't need to, like, oh well, I just take... I mean, like, either way, it killed in 2 hits, right? Like, I don't think the Water Gun one-shot. So I think that, like, I could have just, like, I could have used Super Fang and Water Gun, or Water Gun and Water Gun, and I might as well, like, save Water Gun PP, I guess, because Water Gun is just useful in more situations. But Sunkern is, like, oddly green in this, is what I'm noticing here. I also could have, like, thought that was a shiny if I hadn't seen, like, the animation of it coming out and not seen any stars. But hopefully that doesn't activate and I don't get, like, yeah, okay. Hee, feeling lucky, punk? Go ahead, take another step. We've got traps set in the floor. Yeah, I noticed. I actually came from down there. I went through all of them already. And I wonder if I go back down there and go back through, like, all the trap sections that I've already done, will it activate again? If so, that's really annoying. And I could have caught one of those as an encounter, but, I didn't. I forgot. It did not cross my mind. I mean, it did cross my mind, but, like, after I'd already... it crossed my mind, like, I can have an encounter here. And then I encountered it, and then I forgot, and then I didn't remember again that I could have had an encounter until I already killed it. So, yeah. Whoopsies. But it's fine, there's still, like, the statics at the end of the, base here. In the electrode room. The static electrodes in the electrode room, because that's probably what statics would be in the electrode room. That would be why it's called the electrode room. Probably. But, yeah. I mean, that one even, too. It's like, okay, the electrode room, even if I forget my encounter, in this case, right, like, I forgot the first one, and I remembered by the second encounter that I had an encounter in here, but by then it was already too late because I'd already killed my first encounter. All the electrodes are statics. So, like, and every static counts as a different encounter. So technically, I could just take all of them, but, like, that's lame, right? People normally just take one, and they, like, reset, is what I've seen. Like, I've seen people reset in order to, like, check out all the options and then pick the one they want. I'm just gonna, like, go with the first one that I'm not gonna do any of that resetting. I'm just gonna go with the first one that I like. And so if I just keep on killing it, if I just keep on killing them, hoping for something better, then I don't get an encounter. And I think that's a more interesting way of doing it. Because while I agree that checking through to see all your options sounds fair, and like resetting, like checking an option, resetting, checking an option, resetting, checking an option, resetting to see all of them. Well, I guess you don't have to reset every time, you just, like, check all your options and then reset. But, like, I get that that makes more sense, and I get that that's, like, more fair, but I feel like, just taking the gamble and being like, this one doesn't look good, I'm just gonna bet on getting a good one later. And, like, having to pick, from, like, not knowing what's up next, like, which ones you could be missing, not knowing what you could be missing out on, I feel like that's much more interesting from a content perspective. It's less fair, but more interesting. So I think I'll do that. I'm gonna submission the Snorlax. I know Snorlax has a lot of health, so hopefully it does not do, like, a recoil that is, like, super duper crazy. It'll do a lot, but actually not that much. I think I always tend to overestimate, like, how much recoil recoil damage a move will do to me. Yeah, I'm gonna stay in against this Raticate, because if submissioning that Raticate did that little damage, submissioning that Snorlax did that little damage to me, then submissioning this Raticate, I'm fine. Like, I doubt it'll do more. So, like, that's a decent amount of health. That's, like, a fine amount of health for me to lose. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with losing that much, in order to one-shot the thing. Rider Robin was defeated. Okay, kaboom! Kaboom, Rico? Kaboom. And what do you have to say for yourself? I don't even know where the traps are planted. You'll just have to collect your courage and walk. I already did, and I already walked, and it was already fine. But he just jumps over them. That's crazy. Hey, intruder alert. Yeah, I didn't know that they were all the same trainer. That's really cool. I feel like that's not a thing that happens often in Pokemon. That, like, you fight the same trainer over and over again, but they sort of, like, do it in a way that makes you think it's different trainers. And, like, you wouldn't really notice, I don't think, if it wasn't for the randomizer. Because, like, I think obviously you notice that, like, they all have the same Pokemon. Because the randomizer wouldn't give them all the same Pokemon if they didn't already have all the same Pokemon. But, like, in a normal playthrough, you just think, like, oh, they're different trainers with the same Pokemon, right? I'm being challenged by all these trainers that all have the same Pokemon, right? But, like, in this, the randomizer is letting me know that, like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. These are not different trainers, these are all the same guy. Because their names are all randomizing into the same thing. Whereas in the game, I don't think that would be the case. So I guess... I think that... Okay. I guess they would all be called Rocket Grunts in the normal game, wouldn't they? So I guess that would be the case, they would all have the same name. But the fact that in this randomizer, they all have the same Pokemon, tells me that they're probably all the same trainer. Like, obviously you would know in the normal game, because they're all called Rocket Grunt, and all Rocket Grunts are called Rocket Grunts even if they're not the same trainer. But in this game, you know that... I don't know why I'm using Super Fang, I just really like Super Fang, I guess. I think I thought it was Hyper Fang, which doesn't justify me using it at all, because Hyper Fang on a Slow King sounds so useless. But, I don't know, I just, like, saw Fang, and I was like, Hyper Fang Raticate! My brain flashed back to when I've had Raticates in the past, and I've just spammed Hyper Fang on them, and like, Hyper Fang! I love Hyper Fang! And then I just, like, spam Hyper Fang, but it's not Hyper Fang, it's Super Fang, and this is a Slow King! Dang, I failed! Yeah. And then they're gonna summon another one. This is very time-consuming. I'd love to just, like, end off this episode by turning off these stupid freaking statues that are calling all these trainers here, because yes, it's good XP, but it's also very annoying and time-consuming to keep on taking them down like this. Just have to keep on taking them down. So I'm just going for the Hyper Beam, speed up this whole process, hopefully insta-kill this Delibird. I don't see why I wouldn't. Yeah. Juan's stats are not good, but they're not that not good. But yeah. You wouldn't know in a normal game, because they're all called Rocket Grunt. That doesn't mean that all Rocket Grunts are called Rocket Grunts, so that doesn't mean, like, they're the same trainer. But, in this, like, it just means, like, oh, these are Rocket Grunts that were all coded to have the same Pokemon, right? These are different Rocket Grunts. So you just think, oh, these are different Rocket Grunts that were all coded to have the same Pokemon, right? But, like, in this, it doesn't matter what Pokemon a certain trainer was programmed to have. All their Pokemon are randomized. So the only reason why a trainer would have the exact same Pokemon as another trainer is if they're actually the same trainer. You know? Like, it's not like they went to all these different trainers and gave them all different... And they gave them, like... It's not like these are multiple trainers that they all gave the same Pokemon to. Because otherwise, they would all have different Pokemon when it randomized. Like, it randomized one trainer. And it gave them one set of Pokemon. And that's why... they all have the same Pokemon still in the randomizer. Because if they didn't do that, then they would all have different Pokemon in the randomizer, even though they all had the same Pokemon in the game. Because it wouldn't know that, you know? Like, the randomizer wouldn't know, like, oh, I'm supposed to give all these trainers the same Pokemon, and even if it did, it would just ignore it, you know? It'd be like, oh, all trainers are randomized, you know? Like, I have to randomize this trainer's Pokemon, and I have to randomize this trainer's Pokemon, and I have to randomize this trainer's Pokemon. Like, it randomizes every trainer. So the fact that all these trainers have the same Pokemon tells me that they're actually all the same trainer, because otherwise it would have randomized them all to have separate Pokemon. Because they were separate trainers, but they're not separate trainers, so they're randomized to all have the same Pokemon because they randomized the same trainer once, and then, like, it's the same trainer over and over again. Not a bunch of... They didn't randomize all these trainers to have the same Pokemon, they randomized one trainer, and it's the same trainer repeating. That's how you can tell, because we're playing a randomizer, that these are the same trainer over and over again. Just copy and pasted the same trainer. Same 2 trainers, at least. Because the first one and the second one have different dialogue. So we know they're different trainers, and also they have different Pokemon, obviously. Yeah, where is the switch to turn off these stupid statues? I've been there, have I been here? Yeah, I think I went that way before. Let me see if I can go this way and then find... Let me see if I go this way. Let me see if I go this way, I will find a switch to turn off these stupid statues. Because I think I've been everywhere else on this floor so far. Ninja was once a ninja. This was once a ninja hideout. Freaking can't talk. There are traps to confound intruders like you. Does the scientist happen to be standing next to the off switch for these pedestals here? Because if they were, that would make sense, as they are scientists, so they would probably have control over the technology. So if I went up to his computer, and was able to turn off the statues from there, sensors, then I wouldn't be all that surprised. However, I also would not be super, I would not be, like, entirely not surprised, because I feel like, also, if there was a way to turn off the statues in this room, it would be more obvious than just a computer. I feel like a computer in Pokemon, like, if you click on it, it never really does anything. It is always just, like, sort of set decoration. It's just sort of decoration. All computers in Pokemon, basically. There are some exceptions, but for the most part, it is just like computers are decoration in Pokemon. So I feel like, especially this early in the series, when this computer looks like every other computer in the game, they wouldn't want you to click on this computer to turn off the sensors. So I don't know if this is the right computer. Like, I'm tempted to say, I don't know if this computer turns off the sensors. Like, I'm tempted to say, like, oh yeah, it's right next to the scientist. The scientist would have access to the sensors. But at the same time, also, I think if it was a computer to turn off the sensors, it would look different from other computers in this game in order to draw better attention to it. If this computer, this random computer that looks like every other computer in the game, and those computers do like absolutely nothing, right? If this computer that looks like all those computers that do nothing, does something and turns off the sensors, I feel like that's just bad game design. But at this point, I really just want it to be a bad game design, so that way I can turn off the sensors and stop what's annoying, like statues sensing me and summoning trainers to me, because I think, like, the most annoying part of it, frankly, is that I have to keep doing the same battle over and over again. Like, I don't mind doing a lot of battles, that's fine, I'm cool with that, it's good XP, but, like, doing the same battle over and over again, it's like same Pokemon, is, like, so freaking annoying. It gets so freaking annoying so freaking fast, so. Alright, I'll divulge a secret about our hideout. That thing on the floor up ahead is a warp panel. Well, yeah, duh. If you step on it, you'll be warped back to the entrance. To the entrance? Oh my gosh. Thank you for telling me that, honestly. Because I was gonna step on that, I'd be like, okay, time to go to the... I was gonna be like, oh, time to go to the next floor. It was not the next floor. A secret switch. Better press it. I guess they did say the switch was secret, to be fair. I was like, that would be bad game design if they put the secret switch... They put the switch to turn off the sensors. I'll just say random computer that looks just like all the other computers. But, on the other hand, when you think about it, they did say it was a secret switch. So it would be kind of bad game design, actually, for it to not be secret. But, yeah, I was going to step on that in order to get teleported to, like, the next area. But, I don't know why I would do that, actually, when, there's just stairs right here. So I'm going to go down these stairs, and then, I'm going to wrap up the episode here, because this seems like a good stopping point. I know now, since I've gone down the stairs, that I explored the top floor. I didn't want to stop in the middle of the top floor, because then I would know when the next episode came what I'd already explored there and what I hadn't. But now, since I've gone down to the next floor, I know, obviously, that I probably explored the entirety of the top floor, and I don't need to go up there again in the next episode. So, thank you all so much for watching, EV Clan. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. This is Alex Beyond, signing off.